Hello, welcome to Thursday's meditation. And today we're looking at the fertile field of relationships because we know that relationships are marvelous, but they can also cause such a lot of chaos and stress. And at work, what do we have? We have relationships at work as well, don't we? With our colleagues, with our peers. And I invite you today to enjoy a meditation where we're going to bring some soothing and healing vibes into our relationships to make everything flow more easily. So just to set the scene, I'm going to just share my screen with you and share just a few ideas about this, and then we'll meditate. So first, let's acknowledge the original inhabitants of Australia and the custodians of the land and pay our respect to the elders past, present and emerging. Well, let's just drop in now with a breath or two to let go of your morning, breathing in, and then just release any pressure or stress down through your body and letting it go. Yeah, just roll your shoulders a few times and shake out your arms and put your chin to the ceiling, chin to the chest. Breathe in as your chin goes to the ceiling and breathe out as your chin goes to the chest. And then just let any tension go out of your spine, maybe arching your spine and curving your spine just gently within what's easy for you to do. Tense up your leg muscles and release them. There you go. We're here, ready to rock and roll with relationship meditations. So we all know that it can be tricky when you are feeling stressed to maintain the right attitude, I suppose, in relationship. It's easy to get a bit testy when we're under pressure. So I thought that's the sort of thing we'll address today, where we'll release a lot of that kind of charge that builds up. There is no doubt that stress impacts all of our relationships, whether it's at home or at work. And then when we're faced with the inevitable individual differences that occur between any two humans, that it can just make things tougher than they normally are. There's been a lot of research in the field of relationships and well-being, as you can imagine, and basically it's found that when we're stressed, we're more likely to misread facial and verbal cues, sometimes creating conflict where there wasn't one before. And I've seen in people around me over the years, you can just say, pass the salt, and because they're stressed, they think you were having a go at them. And in fact, that's not the case. They just misread what you were saying or the way that you said it with your facial expression. And so this can make the whole area a lot more complicated and bring forth even more stress. And it tends to ratchet up then, it gets bigger and bigger. Sometimes we can get more upset about the way we're talking to each other and how they've spoken to us and the attitude that's involved in the communication, that the original thing we disagreed about was, it's kind of lost along the way somewhere, or really was quite minor compared to what then flows from it. So we'll be looking at that stuff today. So relationships are interesting things. A lot of it has to do with the way we're thinking, our memories of what happened. And let's face it, memories are inherently unreliable. Science has shown us that. We worry about people. We worry about how they're perceiving us and how we're going to get along. A lot of fears can come up in relationships. And then there's the expectations about what we might think is going to happen in the future. And people can get crossed wires a lot with expectations because they just assume things and then the communication isn't there. I had it just a minute ago when I was making a cup of coffee for my beloved in the break before this, and I made it on almond milk, a lovely, fresh, hot cappuccino with almond milk, only to be told that he wanted oat milk, and we hadn't discussed it. So it's like, oh, Whoops. So that thing around just expecting that people are going to want a certain thing or be a certain way, I'm sure we've all had those experiences. And it can just build up until, yeah, it just gets tricky. Whether it's home or work, the issues that can come up in relationships can snowball. And so I invite you to have a think about what kind of expectations are on you at the moment and what sort of expectations you might have of others, and whether there's any wiggle room, whether there's any space to have different kinds of conversations about these things, because I do think sometimes our expectations can be a little unrealistic, a bit like Cinderella taught us all about what love affairs are like. It's like, yeah, right, not good for the psyche. When you have two people out and about, they have two blobs of energy that's them, and they can really do what they like, and it's only when they get really close together and they start to merge that then there's this sort of oneness thing that comes in. But it's kind of like sometimes it can be a tug of war as each one wants to control the dynamic of the relationship. And this can be quite unconscious. A lot of the time it is. But I wonder if you're relating to any of the things that I'm talking about. Are there any areas in relationship that drive you a bit nuts? Anything you'd kind of like to look at or work on today? Think about a relationship that you would like to see in better shape than it is right now. And you'd be surprised what can happen when we bring meditative tools to bear on these things, even though it's just you that's doing this process today. I've often found that the other party seems to get it anyway in some subtle way, and that there seems to be some kind of improvement in our situation with that person. So we'll see. Let's just see. Let's be explorers inside our own consciousness and release some of the stress that we might be carrying as well. So preparing now for meditation, I usually do that by sitting with your back straight, feet on the floor or cross-legged, whichever you prefer, and your hands face up just to be relaxed and ready. And then as you take a breath in, just being aware of yourself, your body, your energy, and what is it that you perceive as sacred, whatever that is. Maybe it's the earth, maybe it's a faith tradition, whatever it is, just aligning yourself mentally with that. Maybe it is life itself or nature. And breathing in as you release the breath down through the body, out through the feet, and connecting in with the earth. Imagine that you are beneath a waterfall and that it's a kind of a light coming in through that waterfall, in from above, through your body, beautiful, clear water flowing through your whole body and mind. And getting ready now to connect in a respectful way with whomever it might be that you would like to see an improvement in a relationship. So maybe it's with your partner at home, or whether it's with one of your children, or whether it's with people you work with. Just choose someone that you'd like to see an improvement, a richness, a deepening, and easier flow. And mentally, just picture the person as best you can. And just inwardly acknowledging that this is a friendly, caring, and compassionate process where you invite them into a place of caring and connection. And we'll do some lift, bit of a dynamic process. Also helps when we've got busy minds, like in the middle of the day. So we'll get the mind to help quieten the mind down. I'll do some statements and you can repeat them after me if you feel to. So the first one is to release all stress or negative energy or emotions that you might be carrying right now. So I'll say it, you can repeat it after me. I now release all of the stress, nervous energy, negative emotions that I'm carrying at the moment that are holding me back from feeling calm and peaceful. And breathing in. And as you release the breath, imagine that all of that just gets flushed out as you continue to be underneath a waterfall. Bringing in clean, clear energy, consciousness. Imagine that it's pouring in. Bring it down to the solar plexus area, particularly. And imagine you can breathe straight into that solar plexus area and say, I now release all doubts and fears that create anxiety or discomfort in my body, my mind, or my whole being. And breathing in and releasing through the front of your body. And thinking of the other person, and let's release any tension that might be in our relationship with that person. So say, I'm now ready to release all tension from within the relationship and to set it free as a conscious act of will. And breathing in and releasing through your whole body. And just be aware of your body. Be aware of your mind. And let's release any mental tiredness generally or in respect of this relationship. And say, I release all mental tiredness from my mind, from my body and my whole being, generally, and in respect of the relationship. And breathing in and release through the head region. Wow, there's a lot of that, isn't there? We might do that again because there was a lot coming out. So just breathing deeply in and say, I now release all mental tiredness from my mind, from my physical body and brain, and the whole essence of self. And breathe in and release everywhere. Very good. And just take a long, slow breath. So breathing in and a big, long, slow breath for your out breath. Another breath in and a long, slow out breath. And once more, take a breath in and a long, slow out breath. And now let's ask that the consciousness of any misunderstandings be released from our relationship. So repeating after me, say, I now ask that the consciousness and emotions of misunderstandings or miscommunications, may this be released from our relationship and from my mind and body. And breathing in and releasing. And sometimes we can be really worried that whatever we say, it's going to be wrong. And that can undermine us and cause us to make a few stumbles sometimes when we're trying to communicate. So say, I release all self-doubt and confusion, which would undermine my conversation in this relationship. And breathing in and release through the solar plexus area and the whole abdominal area. And another breath in, releasing through the head region. Imagine you can just breathe out all that stuff. And then be under the waterfall again. And imagine that the water from the waterfall is just washing away all these things that we're bringing to consciousness to release. Keep your breath long, slow, and deep. And let's release a sort of a knee-jerk feeling of annoyance and frustration that might be there. Come to a place of calmness. So in the relationship that we're working on, and even generally, just say, I now release all frustration and all aggravation arising from the relationship or my general circumstances. And breathing in and releasing. And then imagine that you're smiling at the person in the relationship with you, and that it's time for a fresh new beginning to that relationship. And let's bring in some nice positive energy into the relationship in the form of kindness, willingness to understand their point of view, and keeping our side of the street clean in all interactions. So let's tell our nervous system that we're going to keep our side of the street clean. So thinking about your autonomic nervous system that sometimes takes over and snaps at people or wants to fight or flee when feeling stressed. And say, I now choose to be more considered in moments of stress. And I ask that my nervous system help to enable me to be calm under pressure. And breathe in and releasing through the whole of the solar plexus, heart, the whole of the body actually. Another breath in and releasing. Be aware of your body. Be aware of your mind. And if there's any thoughts racing around in your mind, imagine you can just pluck them out and offer them into the waterfall, and they just get gently washed away. and say, I'm now ready to look after my side of the street in relationship interactions, to do my best, to be calm, even when others are struggling. And breathing in and releasing everywhere. And thinking of the person who you've chosen to do some work on that relationship today. And just say to them now in your mind some things that possibly you might have been wanting to say to them but didn't know how. In meditation, you can always have these conversations, and it's amazing how it can shift things, actually. So just taking a moment to send reassurance and to have a wonderful, heartfelt desire for a lift and shift. And just feeling for inside yourself a memory of being with someone who's easy to be with. Maybe not this same person, but someone who's easy to be with, who you love their company. Someone or a pet where you just feel fondness and they make you smile. And feel what that feels like inside your body. And let it build up as a cloud of lovely sensation in your body. And then imagine that with your intention, you can send that cloud of energy to the person where it's been a bit tough. And we're working on that relationship today, sending them goodwill and the desire that there be a lift and shift. And imagine yourself next time you're with these people being friendly and courteous and patient and not being offended if they're stressed. And now we'll just spend a couple of minutes just being aware of the mind and nothing more. And watching your mind for the next thought that arises. And if and when it does, just gently put that thought on a leaf and let it flow down the waterfall and down the river. Bring your awareness back to watching your mind again. Watch your mind. Smile at your mind. And feel the peace as you watch your mind. And allow any thoughts to be just taken out of your mind with your imagination. Put it in that river and let it go. And bring your awareness back. And watch your mind. And now to conclude our meditation, just bring awareness into your heart center. Think once more of the people that you love that mean the most to you, or a pet, and send a wave of love to these wonderful people that we're so blessed to have in our lives. And then you can gently bring your awareness back into your body, wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, and open your eyes. How'd we go? We all doing okay? Feel free to type in anything you want to about how that meditation went for you. The PHN has asked us to ask you to go online and fill in a questionnaire. There's the link that's just been put there in the chat. So let me just share my screen momentarily. We're almost done. Don't forget that there's a whole lot of resources if you're struggling at the moment with the incredible amount of pressure you guys are under, that the PHN does have all these resources and they are there for you, including the Member Assistance Program. We also have at our organisation a lot of meditations that are free that were designed for healthcare workers, with myself and my colleague, Dr. Kathy Perego, who's a psychiatrist in New York. So please feel free to go onto our website and have a look at those resources. You can use them any time of the day or night. Next Monday, our theme is Today I've Done My Bit, How to Avoid Burnout. That's at 6:30 on Monday evening. And next Thursday, Over It, Overwhelm, Let's Defrag Our Minds. So that's what's going to be the theme for next week's meditation. So there's the slide for the PHN and the poll. All right, well, we'll leave it there. Thanks again. All the best, and I'll see you on Monday night or next Thursday. Bye-bye.